If you're in the process of applying to a PhD program or any other academic program, then this video is for you because we're going to talk about the 4 most important tips that you need during your application process. Things I learned the hard way and explaining the mistakes that I did so you don't have to do them after watching this video. Hi, if you don't know me yet, my name is Aynur. I am a PhD student at Imperial College London. I'm a chemical engineer by background and I work on computational fluid dynamics on my research. When I applied for my PhD, I did some mistakes and I think I could have avoided them, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes. So this is why we're doing this video today. Without further ado, let's dive right into the video. So the first mistake I did is I decided to study abroad. And if you study abroad, you really need to get your scholarships down. You get to go on top of the entire tuition, scholarship. How am I gonna fund my studying abroad experience game, all right? And in order to do that, you have to keep an eye on the scholarship deadlines, okay? So I would suggest even before you go ahead and you check application deadlines, check scholarship application deadlines, because without the money, forget the studying abroad experience. You kind of have to cover it in some way, right? So what I would suggest you to do is, first of all, decide on the country that you want to go, right? Write down the universities that you want to apply to, and then check scholarships as early as possible. You cannot check scholarship deadlines early enough. Really, even if it's way before application, just note it down in your calendar so that you have it in your mind when the time approaches that this scholarship deadline is approaching now, because you need the money, right, as an international student. So that's something I didn't do, and then I missed all the scholarship applications for the year and I got super confused, and it somehow worked out anyways. Now I am fully funded, but it was 1 year of extreme stress and it was a very tedious road to get the scholarship, and then it was also a very insecure road and it could have backfired. Like, I was just lucky, guys. Really, it wasn't the smart move to pull. So tip number 1, you gotta get on top of your scholarships. Mark them down in your calendar, note down when the application deadline is, and apply on time. Now, the second tip, and this is like a strategic tip, all right? So when you start applying to universities, usually every one of us has their top favorite universities that we want to get in, right? And then we have like plan B, plan C. Strategically, it really makes sense to start applying for your plan B, C, D options first, because with each application, you're going to learn something new. With each interview, you're going to improve your slides, your interview. And also what I've experienced throughout my interviews is that professors tend to ask the same questions all over again, right? So I got really good at answering these questions because I've gone through a couple of interviews already. And now if you start applying to your first choice university first, you're going to make all the beginner mistakes at your favorite place, and then you're going to blow off all your chances of admission. Don't do that. Start with your plan B, C, D, E choices. Really get down your CV, your motivation letter, your reference letter, everything, so everything is perfect. You've learned from your mistakes, and then go ahead and apply for your favorite choice of university. That's just strategically the way to go. I wish I would have done that, like really, because I blew off some of my chances because I didn't do that. Now, the third thing is communicating our needs for an interview. I've heard this so many times, and it happened to me as well, that an interview time was set to a very inconvenient time for me. So I remember I had this one interview with a very good university, and in that time frame I'm from Germany originally, and I spent 6 months in the US to write up my master thesis, my research project during my master's. And this interview was literally just a couple days after moving back to Germany. So I spent 6 months in the US. I packed up all my stuff. There is this moving out stress, right? Like emptying the entire flat in America, then packing everything up, moving to Germany, settling in, and literally this interview was just a couple days after that. It was like the most terrible time to have an interview. I couldn't prepare for it properly. I was so unprepared, it was embarrassing. Like during the entire interview, I just felt embarrassed of myself, and I thought to myself, I just want this to be over. It's the same feeling like when you're in an exam and you're not prepared for, and it's an oral exam and you just feel grilled and you just think to yourself, just let me fail and let this end, please. So in order to avoid that, say something. Honestly, say something. Explain the situation. Say, hey, you know, I just moved to the country. This and that happened. I had this family accident, incident, and so on. Can we please push the meeting to the next week, to a different day? You know, these are not monsters, and they will understand, and you won't blow off your chances, because the sad part is once you've made it to the interview, you almost made it. You've gone through the entire application process and you've been invited for the interview. Now it's the final push and you're in. And this interview to fail just because it came to a false time is really sad. Don't do that to yourself. Say something, write an email, explain the situation, ask for a different time. Coming to my fourth and final tip, this is something that I felt like I did right from the beginning, and it was super useful for any other application that came afterwards, and it was to ask for feedback. So when I got a rejection, I immediately wrote an email and I said, hey, professor, dear professor, blah, 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 can you please explain to me why you rejected me? Probably something you've experienced as well, that professors don't reply to that email. And then don't be shy to follow up. Like, let 1 week pass by and then the next Monday you just write an email and you say, hey, dear professor, blah, blah, blah. Last week we had this interview, I wrote you an email just following it up on this. Can you please just give me a very quick feedback? Very quick. Why didn't I get the position? And these feedbacks are so valuable. They are so valuable. I learned so much from the email that this one specific professor wrote to me, and I thought to myself, okay, in the next interview I'm gonna do it different. And then nailed it, got the position. Now I'm a PhD student at Imperial College. So ask for feedback, really do that and follow up. Don't do this thing where you just write one email and then you don't follow up on it. Just bug this person. You can even write a couple follow-ups. You've been rejected anyways. What are you afraid of for a second rejection? You didn't get the position, so at least you can ask for a feedback and bug the professor to give you that feedback. There's nothing to lose there. These are my 4 main takeaways for an application. I hope this video was useful for you guys. If you found it a little bit useful and you pulled some value out of this video, I'd really appreciate it so much if you could leave a like, a comment, or also subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this channel here is brand new. So every single comment, like, or subscription matters a lot for this channel. And the larger we get, the better videos I can produce for you guys. So it will be a win-win situation. If you haven't done so already, also make sure to check out my Instagram account, which you can do so by just scanning the QR code here. And on Instagram, I post daily tips from academia for you guys. So it's a really useful and value-packed channel. And I also share my stories, lots of things I do day to day during my PhD. So I'm sure it'll be interesting for you to take a peek into this channel and maybe leave a follow. Other than that, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.